up, y'all? I'm Caitlin Leggett, your favorite journalist, digital media, washed athlete, all the things girly, back with season 2 of the She Don't Miss podcast. And I know this looks a little different, okay? I know we're used to talking to the most premier female athletes across the board: football, soccer, track, volleyball, basketball, whatever the sport is, okay? We're gonna get into it. But I would be remiss as a sports journalist if we did not get into some of the current events that are going on in the women's sports world right now. Like, come on now, I can't keep running from it. So if that's cool, I'm gonna talk to y'all. That's cool. That's cool. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. It is Winter Olympics time, and for the first time since 1998, which is also the only second time in history, the U.S. women's hockey team has won a gold medal, okay, in a 2-1 overtime victory over Canada. Now, this was already a historic win. You have one, the first Black woman to make the women's U.S. ice hockey team, Laila Edwards, on your team, okay, and then two, you go 6-0. Let's look at who they beat on their road to victory, okay? You got Czechia, Finland, Switzerland, Canada, Italy, Sweden, and then you beat Canada again in overtime. Like, come on now. It's actually going crazy. And they only got scored on by Czechia and by Canada. And that was their first and their last game. So off rip, like, they're doing something that doesn't really get done often. I mean, when you think of ice hockey, you don't think primarily the US. You do think Canada. Like, that's where it gets pushed. So off rip, like, they going crazy. Okay. Some of the stat lines that came out of this historic win. Okay, you got Caroline Harvey named the tournament MVP as well as the best defender, and she was included in the All-Star team. Okay. Shout out to Caroline Harvey, okay? Shout out to Laila Edwards, okay? During Black History Month too, girl. Yeah, we see you. And we also seen the link up with Meg Thee Stallion, and that just means we love you that much more, boo, okay? Come over here too. Like, we want to get into all of it. All right. But, unfortunately, you can never just savor your victories as a woman because there is always a man ready to take the spotlight away. The U.S. men's ice hockey team also won in a dramatic victory over Canada, receive a goal. Immediately after, they go to the locker room, they're celebrating, and they receive a call from the current president of the United States, President Trump, who invited them to the State of the Union address. Now, in his congratulatory speech, he made a joke where he decided to essentially disparage the women's team, saying that, oh, I will also have to invite the women's team too, or they may impeach me. I paraphrased, but that's the gist of what he said. And in a state of either nervous laughter or literally boys will be boys locker room talk, the men's team found that hysterical. Oh, again, answering for men's bad behavior is quite irritating as a woman. You can't enjoy your 7-0 victory. You can't enjoy the fact that you put up donuts majority of this road to your gold medal. You can't enjoy the history that was made, having the first Black woman on the U.S. ice hockey team. You can't enjoy these things because you now have to address the public, the media, for behavior that you didn't even take part in. So, with that, the captain of the women's ice hockey team responded, Hilary Knight, and she had this to say about the matter.
I thought the call in itself was distasteful and an awesome learning moment to refocus the narrative and understand, our words matter and how we speak about women matters. And we need to celebrate this team as we've earned our celebrations on the stage and representing our country in the best way. So really looking forward to just leaning into that and continuing to drive success through our group and be the inspiration that we are in our communities.
Once again, women responding and cleaning up men's bad behavior. This is what we get at when we talk about the locker room talk. First of all, why are you even bringing the women's team up if you're not saying also congratulations? And if you're going to congratulate them, call them and congratulate them. Now, subsequently, they declined to come to the State of the Union address. They cited that there were prior scheduling conflicts. The girls got to go back to class because they're good students. But come on, that backhanded comment joke that now it overshadows all of these victories, and then an invitation. Anywho, don't worry, because Flavor Flav, Mr. Loves Women's Sports, looked out and he invited them to his own congratulatory celebratory event that he is hosting with whatever other companies jumped in the comments when he said he would host them. Okay, because we love Uncle Flavor Flav. Now again, I think this all goes back to the idea that if you support women, right, if you support sports, period, women's sports, allyship is not about convenience. Okay, you're not an ally because it's cute to repost. You're not an ally because it's fun to wear the everyone watches women's sports shirts. You're an ally in the face of inconvenience. Okay, in the face of uncomfortable conversations, in the face of discomfort, in the face of inconvenience, in the face of a president making a distasteful joke about your counterpart. That's when allyship comes into play. But like I said, literally responding for men's bad behavior, because this was all so unnecessary. Like, this was a storyline that literally overshadows the medals when it's like the medal is there. Come on, it's a gold medal. What are we talking about? It's fine. At that same Milano Cortina Winter Olympics 2026, women took home a total of 17 medals across the board, and 6 of those were gold. The men took home 12 medals, and 4 of those were gold. You have Alyssa Liu's, I mean, absolutely beautiful, okay, freestyle figure skating performance, which got her gold. And it's just like, why are we having conversations about anything but the sport? It's so frustrating that these are the conversations that have to be had, because it's like, if you don't address it, then it's key, this is okay. But it's like, actually, no. Okay, gold medal, do you hear me? Gold medal, do you hear me? Yeah. Shout out to the women's Winter Olympics US team across the board. Honestly, I'm sure that there were a plethora of athletes from the US also competing for different countries. So, yeah, out there doing a big one. Okay, yeah. So, switching gears to another sport who is currently in season, I would be remiss as a former volleyball player if we did not tap into pro volleyball here in the States. Okay, listen, as a former volleyball player, when you started off playing, you had these things to look forward to. Okay, you were going to go high school, club, college, and if you wanted to play pro, your career would exist overseas. Okay, we had Lauren Weaver check in last season. She's overseas. Scotland checking in. Okay, if you wanted to do it though, you just couldn't do it here. Okay, like I remember looking at like Megan Hodges playing when I was little, and I was looking up for her, and she played at Penn State when Penn State was, Penn State. And she was playing in China. Okay. Like, it didn't happen. You weren't playing here. Fast forward to now, the infrastructure has completely opened up. It's booming. Okay. You have two pro clubs, two pro organizations right here in the States. You have League One Volleyball, who has several clubs across the nation. Okay, at minimum, there are literally two clubs here in Texas, in Houston and in Austin, and then you also have Major League Volleyball, which has again clubs across the nation. There is one here in Texas, the Dallas Pulse. Okay. With that being said, you have two organizations, two pro organizations, so close together. And while I love that there's been this boom, I wonder if there isn't a way to merge. Like, does that sound crazy? Okay, and let me say why I think this in these early stages. This is the same thing that I say for flag football, right? Currently in flag football, there are so many different formats, there are so many different clubs, leagues, teams, and there isn't one centralized location that you're going to look for all of this, right? And so I think that that's kind of in these early stages one of the things that you run into is that having both of these organizations so close together, do you run the risk of one kind of eating the other? Because right now it's looking like League One has the money. It's looking like they for sure have more teams than the Major League Volleyball does. Okay, so, and on top of that, they are getting the star power behind them as well, because you have athletes who are literally finishing their college careers and then smack going to practice the next day. I.e., Afina Okapala like finished her season winning a championship at Texas A&M and then went to go play in League One's league. Okay. Same thing. Madison Skinner went to go play. You know, so it's like you now have the star power behind you. The investors are rolling in. I actually have a mentor who's one of her friends is literally an investor in the coming team. So I believe there's going to be a Love B San Francisco. She's an investor there. So the hype is here behind pro volleyball across the board clearly, but does it take away to have two clubs right here, two pro organizations like so close together? I don't know. Cuz also I love the idea that there are multiple places to play. And then on top of that, do you get these pro athletes ready for the LA Olympics? You know, like are we vying to have like are we vying to have like multiple team like what's it about to look like is all I'm saying. You know, because I would hate to see one eat another. And right now it's looking like League One has they it seems like they have the money behind them and they are literally eating off of their athletes. Okay, they know who they have behind them, they're using social media to push. But I think I can see like Major League Volleyball also doing this, doing the same thing, like both of which seem to have TV contracts, so they're getting airtime. Pros and cons. But just a question, just a thought. That's all. I ain't knocking nobody. I'm trying to make it to a Dallas Post game, so we gonna do what we do there. So we gonna switch gears to somebody who's not in season yet, but Unrivaled is going off, so they basically in season. The WNBA, they are amidst these CBA negotiations. They have been literally since the season, and this has been a conversation for quite some time. This idea that the WNBA does not turn a profit. This has been the argument of many people for quite some time, namely men, as to why women in the WNBA cannot be paid more. The idea is that they don't have the money, so they can't share it, right? And the WNBA's Player Association has been for some time advocating for a revenue sharing model. Quite similar to what the NBA has. Cool. So this idea that the WNBA does not turn a profit has now been debunked. In a recent meeting, it was basically shared that this revenue that has general 3, 2, 1 in a recent meeting, it was basically shared that they've been making more than they've been letting on. Okay, things that we do know, the revenue has increased in from if we're going from 2019, it was at sitting at like 102 mil then, and now fast forward to like 2024, it was sitting at somewhere between 180 and 200 mil. We're now in 2026. Y'all got the money. Cool. So in their most recent virtual meeting, there were additional concessions made by the WNBA's Player Association where they given a little to get more. Okay, cool. So the things are happening, but there are obviously they're still at a stalemate. There has not been an agreement that has been made. With that, the NBA, Mr. Adam Silver gave them a hard deadline. Okay, March 10th. Y'all need to come to a decision, or which the WNBA's Player Association has already agreed to during the December season and has doubled down on even in this meeting with the loss of a few players because striking is scary. But they have said that they will strike essentially if they don't get what they want. What does that look like? They ain't playing. Okay? Like it just is what it is, which is also something that you see kind of evident in like the fact that like Stewie is overseas right now hooping. And her contract overlaps with the WNBA season because it's looking like there might not be one. Like I said, that deadline is March 10th. The season would start May 8th, but it ain't gonna be no season if they don't cough up no money. Now, there have been some concessions on the WNBA side, coming up with a player revenue sharing model that is up like 70% from what they initially proposed, but there's still like a proposed salary cap that remains under 9.5 million. It's just difficult to keep players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese when they make so much more outside of the WNBA. It just is what it is. And if you can't pay your players are going to leave. You have Unrivaled going on right now, and literally in what in some of their skills competitions in their 1v1s, they giving up 200K. That's more than they're making in their entire salary just through the WNBA. We got to be so for real. We got to be so for real. So do I want to see a strike? No, but I do hope they stand on business because I want them to get paid, okay? Oh, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Like, pay the players. Like, come on. So, women's tackle season is right around the corner, okay? Spring season checking in. And there are amazing org leagues that will be playing, namely the WNFC. And their season is starting right at the end of the March, okay? So make sure you tune in. Victory Sports will actually be streaming everything for free. So tap in, watch a little women's tackle football. I ain't gonna lie, it's tough, okay? Them ladies get down and don't play. And I'm not just being biased because I have a whole bunch of women's tackle players on my flag team. Just a little bias, okay? And with that, that has been another episode of the She Don't Miss podcast. Okay, I know we covered a wide range from the Olympics to WNBA to volleyball to tackle. But like, come on, how do we feel about it? Like, are we rocking with it? We just gonna chat for real. And like I said, we're still going to talk to all of the latest and greatest. But you know, we gotta keep up with what's going on too. Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, however you are getting this podcast. Make sure you tune in, send it to a friend of a friend. I will see y'all next episode. Love ya. Bye.